St. Louis, gateway to the West, home of the blues, and for 17 years haunted by the phantom they called the poop monster. Now, every city's got its share of weirdness, but the poop monster? He was in a league of his own. You see, St. Louis has this whole other city beneath the streets, a labyrinth of tunnels and sewers, forgotten by time and most folks with a working nose. That's where he lived. That's where he thrived. Down in the muck, amid the stench, our story begins. 17 years this had been going on. 17 years of head-scratching, nose-holding and city council meetings that went nowhere. Every few weeks, like clockwork, a different part of the city would wake up to the calling card of the poop monster. A pile of, well, you know, always strategically placed, always ripe. Nobody ever saw him. Nobody ever heard him. He was a shadow, a stench in the night, a phantom that left his mark on the city, one steaming pile at a time. His MO was always the same. He'd strike in the dead of night, always targeting places of authority. City Hall, police stations, even the art museum wasn't safe. He had a thing for statues too, draping them in what can only be described as fecal garlands. The press had a field day. The cops were baffled, and the people of St. Louis? Well, they were somewhere between amused and horrified. How do you catch a guy who disappears into thin air, leaving behind only the evidence of his, digestive prowess? Then one day, the unthinkable happened. The poop monster got ambitious. He crossed the river Festus, a quiet little town just across the Mississippi, known for its peaches and its annual goose poop festival. Ironic, right? Word on the street was the mayor of Festus had made some disparaging remarks about St. Louis's sanitation department. Big mistake. The very next morning, a mountain of you-know-what appeared on the hood of the mayor's prized vintage El Camino. Message received. The gloves were off. This wasn't just about St. Louis anymore. It was personal. Section 5. The Dragnet. The Festus incident changed everything. The feds got involved. The FBI, the CIA, even NASA was consulted after all. This was a matter of national security, right? Operation Stinky Boots was born. They brought in the big guns, infrared cameras, motion sensors, even those weird poop-sniffing dogs they use at airports. They were going to catch this guy, no matter what. The streets of St. Louis became a high-tech minefield of surveillance. You couldn't toss a used diaper without triggering a SWAT team response. Section 6, Night of the Chase. It was a Wednesday night when it all went down. The sensors went off around 2 a.m., pinpointing the poop monster near Busch Stadium. A dozen police cruisers converged on the location, sirens blaring, lights flashing. They had him cornered, they thought. But then, just as they were closing in, the lights went out, pitch black. When the backup generators kicked in, he was gone, vanished. Only a faint whiff of victory hung in the air. The poop monster had struck again, and this time he'd made them look like fools. Section 7, Lair of the Poop Monster. The cops finally caught a break a week later. An anonymous tip, probably from a disgruntled meter maid knowing St. Louis, led them to an abandoned sewer tunnel near the riverfront. This wasn't just any tunnel. This was the mother lode. Inside, they found a labyrinth of tunnels, meticulously organized. There were charts, graphs, even a detailed map of the city, with every deposit site marked with a little brown thumbtack. Section 8. The man behind the mask. And in the center of it all, surrounded by his life's work, was the poop monster himself. He wasn't a monster at all. He was just a guy, a skinny, middle-aged guy with sad eyes and a scraggly beard, wearing an orange jumpsuit. Turns out he used to be a sanitation worker, laid off 10 years ago when the city outsourced his job. This was his revenge. His way of saying, hey, somebody's got to do the dirty work. Section 9. A scatological salute. The trial was a media circus. The city was divided. Some people called him a menace, others a folk hero. He refused to speak, communicating only through interpretive dance routines that involved a toilet plunger and a roll of duct tape. The judge wasn't amused. He got 6 months for public indecency and a lifetime ban from every public restroom in Missouri. But the legend of the poop monster? That was just getting started. Section 10. Legend of the Loo. See, the thing about the poop monster is he made people think. He took something we all do, something we don't like to talk about, and he shoved it in our faces, literally. He reminded us that even the dirtiest jobs are important, that the people who do them deserve our respect, not our scorn. So yeah, the poop monster was a weirdo, but he was our weirdo, and in a way he made St. Louis a little more human and a little less full of crap.